Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of our Survivor Talk here on Crazy Hank TV. Today, it's me and David just hanging out, talking about Survivor, wondering what's going to happen next.
And a week that'll live in infamy with, on the one hand, brilliant play, and the other hand, some of the worst play in Survivor history, all in the same episode.
Well, they change it up, that's for sure. You think it's going one way, and then you're like, oh, no, come on. Jamie's gone this week. She's not feeling well. She's going to join us in the chat. She's got no voice. So while we could all look at her face, it'd be pretty annoying if we couldn't hear what she had to say. So anyway, they started out the show right off the bat going back to camp after last week's tribal. And there were some kind of hurt feelings.
Yeah, Heather was definitely catching it a little bit, wasn't she?
She was. I thought right away, it was like, oops, somebody's in trouble.
Yeah.
And Deshaun was really mad at her, in fact. He was mad at Shan also, which was like, you could tell. He started that last week with the whole he didn't want her to tell him what to do thing, right? That's
right.
That's like a common theme now for them this week as well.
Well, and he kind of had a point.
Mm-hmm.
Is she says she tries to be sensitive to other people's feelings, and then even after hearing what he said to her about don't come at me like that, she said, I hear what you're saying, and I'm validating what you're saying, and then she goes on her off camera and goes, but I need him to do what I want.
I think it's the way that that must just be how she is, and she probably doesn't realize how her words are coming across. Like if she just changed it up and was like, so what do you think of this idea? And like kind of give, you're asking the same question, basically. You're throwing the same idea out there, but giving the other person still some power to give you back feedback. But she doesn't seem to be able to do that. She doesn't get it.
And she strikes me as one of those people, and I know one of those people. I'm stuck in my head with one, who think really fast, and sometimes they're here and the other person isn't yet over here yet, and they don't bother to get them to the same headspace they're in.
Right.
And so they're just like, this is obvious. Why don't you see it? Just do what I say.
Right. So, so yeah, I guess if she just slowed down or give them your idea and then let them sit with it for a second. Let them soak it in so you can talk about the pros and cons, right? But she's immediately pushy with it. No, we have to do this kind of situation.
Right. And in fairness to her, she was in a tribal council situation where they didn't exactly have a lot of time to be.
Yeah.
But even then, she sort of, if she'd have approached him and said, "Look, I really think we should vote for Heather," it probably would have been different than vote for Heather.
Right. Because one is making your case, right? The other is being bossy. And
he's already told her that he's bothered by that. So she's
not
listening.
And then at one point last night, they made up from that, said they were sorry. And no sooner than that happened, they were right off again. So then that apology doesn't mean anything to Deshaun, right? Shan't be so dang shanty. All right. The cold medication's kicking in over there. So,
but I hear what she's saying. Is she's letting her own wants kind of dominate what's best for her game.
Yeah, and that's not great. Even if you are the smartest person who knows every single thing to do correctly, it's still not great to rub it in everyone's face. People don't like that.
Exactly. And then she walks up. I mean, granted, I'm going to mess up with your chronology here, but then she walks up on the beach where Xander is sitting with what's her name, Erica, right? Mm-hmm. And says to the other three people, "Why don't just the four of us chat?"
Yes.
You ever heard whispering or being subtle? Or?
Well, okay, so Xander and Erica were both like, wow, they are so confident in their group that they don't even try to hide it. Do you think that's what it was? Was it confidence, or was Shan just that oblivious to how that was going to look?
I think it's a little of both. I think it's frankly a little of both. I think she thought she was in such a power position that it kind of didn't matter.
I wonder if it's had been that obvious up till now. Because if I was one of those other three, I would have been like, uh, just a moment. I'll be with you in just a minute. Like try to break it up a little bit so it doesn't sound so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and then they all go walking off. I thought it was horrible gameplay.
Horrible. Because Xander and Erica, they looked like they couldn't even pick their shins up off the sand. They were like,
I mean,
did
I mean,
that really just happen?
it's exactly the opposite of what we saw in Big Brother, where they said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do, so nobody figures out we're working together." You
Exactly.
know?
You have to keep that stuff down like really quiet. Um, but because of all the chaos that was happening, Evie did say that chaos was amazing for her.
Of course, and of course, she's right.
She is right.
And for Xander, and for
Right.
Erica,
Right.
and for
Yes.
Heather.
And immediately, while Erica and Xander are talking there, after the others go off, they say, "Should we maybe approach the rest of the five,
Right.
meaning the other five that are not in with those four and Ricard?"
Right.
And so they see it.
Well, and this is what makes the end of the episode so damn mystifying to me.
Yep.
Is it just, what ended up happening? Well, and I don't want to skip ahead, but it just, to me, Xander, it's 2 weeks in a row where he's played both brilliantly and stupidly in the same episode.
Right. But again, they really did play that one. So Nasir got kind of paranoid, and because of that extra vote, or the one vote he got last week, and we didn't know who it was. Well, I guess it was Xander, secretly Xander, but he 100% thought it was Heather. So right away at the beginning of the show, they start painting the picture like Heather's in trouble, right? Because everybody's from Heather's old tribe's mad at her. Then you have these people, Nasir, thinking that she's throwing him a vote. I know it was you, Heather. I know it was you.
Right.
He did everything but go and kiss her on the cheek, right? He broke my heart. We got a little bit of some beach time with Ricard talking about how he was deaf in his right ear.
And I had no idea. Did you have a clue?
They had made some comment earlier in the season about him being hard of hearing or something like that he didn't hear well, but not to the point that he's literally completely deaf on one side.
Because what a disadvantage and yet an advantage at the same time. If he can read lips effectively from 20 feet away, people are talking, thinking he can't hear them.
Well, he also said he's really good at reading body language. And I suppose you would have to be, right? Because in his job, he's a flight attendant. You're on the plane. It's loud already. You have to kind of be able to see what people need without, and sometimes they're rows away, right? So that probably helps him a lot. But I thought it was awesome because, yes, for the advantage that you said, and also that he can maybe read when people are maybe not telling the truth, and it really explains how many times they've cut to him and he's got like a weird side eye thing going on where he's looking at people. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. Well, and he kind of intently looks at people, and now that makes sense.
Right. And now it makes sense because
I thought he was just real intense, and I was like kind of bothered by it. Like, why are you,
like, wow, he's really astute. He's really paying attention. But no, he has to because he doesn't want to miss anything.
Right.
And so that I'm so glad they finally brought that up because it made a lot of sense. So yeah, then they pulled him to the side. Okay, we get to the first challenge, with the only challenge, and it's going to be one of these Perch immunity challenges. And
that just looked like hell on earth.
It didn't look great. It's one of those things where it would be really painful, but you always think like maybe given the proper motivation, maybe you could get through the pain a little bit. I don't know.
And then I was unclear. You couldn't lift a foot even for a second?
The foot?
Because it wasn't if you fall
not even to reposition.
Remove your hand or your feet.
You had to maintain your hands and like holding onto you couldn't hold it a different way. And you had to keep your feet in position.
Right, so you couldn't even lift it for a second and like shake your foot out or anything.
Yeah, no. Which that's weird. I get it. That makes it a little more challenging.
Normally you'd just be the last person to fall down, right? It seemed like an odd.
But maybe that was so it wouldn't take so long. Because I suppose if you could reposition, they'd be out there for a couple hours probably.
Yeah, because what was it, 25 minutes or so, I think.
Is that all? Is that was all it was?
I thought it was maybe
Oh,
the
I don't
last
remember.
3 were like at 25 minutes, and I don't think he ever said how long.
Yeah, they went real quick at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the way that they played it, I thought was interesting. We're merged as a tribe, but still, they're going to play this as 2 groups. There was going to be one immunity winner from each group. One overall group was going to win reward, which was a big steak and chicken dinner back, whatever I can't. And
it was stew.
Stew. Okay, stew. That's right, with potatoes and onions. And then they were each going to be sending someone home. So right away I went, oh, it's basically like a double eviction week again, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Well, I did like it. I did like it from the standpoint it felt like Endgame kind of. Mm-hmm. Only 2 end games, where and to me that's the best part of the game, where there's 4 or 5 people left. And
I think the most interesting thing here was that they had set up very early on in the show last night that there were a group of 5 and 5, or there were 5 that were in and 5 that were out, right?
Right.
And when you have to now split this up, you're not going to be on the group with all of your people. And now what if you're on the other group and you get voted out, but you know what I mean? It really made them have to hustle.
Wouldn't that have been cooler though, if you would have ended up with all your people? Because then one of your people are going
right.
out. That would have been neat.
Well, and that was Xander's missed opportunity last night. Okay.
Well, and not just Xander's, Erica's too.
Sure, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, how do you get in that situation, having been on the beach, seeing what you saw, and none of those 5 people go home?
Correct.
And you send the 2 people who you could potentially ally with?
And we didn't really hear them telling anyone about that.
Right.
Because they very easily could have been telling the other people, you know what happened earlier? This kind of was weird. What do you think? Because that plants the seed, like, why are they going off to talk?
And Nasser would have flipped, for sure.
For sure. So the 2 groups ended up being Danny, Xander, Evie, Leanna, and Deshawn. So that was good for Leanna, Deshawn, and Danny, right?
Right.
And Xander won immunity from that group.
Fairly easily, I thought.
It did kind of look at the end. I couldn't tell. It looked like he was kind of struggling a little bit, but he had his eyes closed and he was just getting in it, right?
Yeah.
And then the other group was Ricard, Heather, Shan, Erica, and Nasir. And Erica won. Were you surprised it was Erica from the other group?
No, because I think she knew she was gone.
Right. So the motivation was there. She had to win it, right?
Yeah.
And she's fairly tiny. I mean, she's not like...
Yeah, less. Somebody like Danny up there, that's an awful lot of weight, because everyone's got about the same amount of perch, the same amount of surface area to put all that weight on.
Exactly. And exactly. And the more weight you have on top of that small base is going to just really start to ache and hurt and cramp. Because who was it that had to... It was Deshawn. He had to move his hand, or he had repositioned it wrong. And he said...
that was Nasser. And then he said, I can't feel my hand.
Yeah,
he said, I can't move it back.
And he'd only been... That wasn't even, 15 minutes in?
No, right, exactly.
I mean, and he already was like, I can't even move my hand. Can you imagine? You're about to default, and you're like, I can't.
Well, and even afterwards with Deshawn and Xander, and Xander's like, I can't raise my arms to give you a hug. So they were kind of doing this awkward low arm man hug thing. I can't
even imagine how that would feel. But Xander won this, and he pushed himself. So he didn't have to, because he still has the immunity idol. Is he putting a bigger target on himself, or is he securing himself?
Well,
by winning.
Okay. Based on what he had seen earlier, I think the mission should have been disrupt that alliance.
Right.
And I don't understand how it possibly wasn't.
Right. He got distracted.
So I don't get why he played it the way he did. It made no sense. Either.
Unless they really did pull a fast one over him. They really played the sad story a little too much. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it
Like
absolutely could be.
to the point that he thinks he's got it and he doesn't have to worry about it.
Or Deshaun, swore and Danny swore they were going to do what he wanted, and then they didn't.
Right, because they thought I think he thought that he had turned them on Leanna.
Yeah.
And honestly, they should have.
I don't know. It's not in their interest.
Okay. Yeah, but I think those two are solid together. I don't think they really care. And if Shan is one of these people who's throwing out Deshaun's name, and
Yeah.
then or Leanna, or sorry, Leanna was so eager to throw his name out. Deshaun just seems like the kind of person to be like, okay, he would have no problem. You're done.
Right, but that's why. I mean, that's why the play was obviously. Of course, I'm giving Heather the immunity idol, so you guys can decide amongst the three of you who you want to go home. But I assure you, it will be one of you.
Right.
And then watch them self-destruct, and ultimately, you wouldn't have to play the idol because they would have to believe you.
Right. No, I think it's amazing that he still still has his immunity idol. And one of them even brought it up at Tribal. This is the year where immunity idol, you don't have to play your immunity idol. The threat of the immunity idol keeps people focused somewhere else because you don't want to go to Tribal and biff it. You want to go to Tribal knowing you have whatever your game is in control, right? So you don't even consider that person because they all use their idol. And then what's going to happen? And maybe the votes come on you if people don't do what they're saying they're supposed to do. So they're not even risking it.
But then last night, I mean, it didn't, after the previous week with the fake idol and all that, which was pretty good play. Then this week, he never even really pretended he was going to give it to Heather.
No,
I mean, all he had to do was say
for Evie.
No, I wonder. It was Heather.
Yeah, but it was Evie.
Evie last week, right?
No. It was Evie on. It was Evie on his team that went home. Heather went home from the other team, the other side, right?
No. Yes.
Okay.
I'm so freaking confused.
I think so. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, because it was either Nasir or Heather on the one side, and then it was going to be Evie or Leanne on the other one.
Right.
And they're also afraid of Evie or Evie. And I don't know. I think he should have kept her. I know that he's had his moments, but he knows he can't trust the other three that were there because they were going off and talking secretive. So why wouldn't you? Saving Evie means saving somebody.
Right. So why wouldn't he have just said, of course I'm giving it to her. I'm absolutely giving it to her. There's not even a question. Even if he didn't intend to, if you would have played it strong, like, of course I'm giving it to her. Yeah. There is no question I'm giving it to her.
Well, you can vote with me and Evie and vote for Leanna. Yeah. Or you can vote for.
I want to work with you. Tell me who you want to go home, Danny, or you know what I'm saying? At that point.
Oh, there you go. Say, yeah, but we're going to vote that way. And the person we vote for is going to go home because I'm giving her my idol.
Yep.
And then they're just like, you put them on the spot like that. And then it's like, they have to scramble. And then, the misdirection, right?
And so Evie going home for him was a disaster.
You bluff them. I think so too. Those guys really needed to stick together.
Right. And then on the other side, even Nasser. I mean, they had to move that guy over. I don't know why he thought he was in with the Danny alliance.
Because they're that original tribe I think Erica thinks so too. I think Nasir and Erica both feel like because they were original tribe members with Danny and Deshaun, that somehow they're still together.
Wow.
With Heather too? Do they really think that?
It's amazing. Although I have to say, when Nasser went home, I was kind of happy because I thought he was the sweetest, nicest, kind of most innocent character. Not character, but you get what I'm saying, personality.
Yeah.
That I know what it's like to be hungry. I was hungry my whole childhood. Here, I'll go up the tree and get the what was that goofy fruit they were eating?
The papaya.
The papaya. Yeah. And do not take Shan's papaya. Did somebody put a meme out on that?
Oh, I don't know, but I bet
Jamie Joe, find me a meme. Find me the papaya meme. I know it's there. Anyhow.
Oh, see, did you see what Jamie says? That Leanna's going to be a bigger problem for Danny and Deshaun than they think, and I agree. I think they should have taken her out because. Yep. She's going to stick with Shan, and Deshaun is already not liking Shan's bossiness. Leanne's she's just going to do what Shan says too, or let Shan be the shield for their ideas, probably, right?
Yeah, I think Shan's days are numbered. I really do, because Deshaun doesn't like her. Danny ultimately is going to side with Deshaun, I think.
I think so too. But
and so
I think
those two, and then everyone else, the only person she'll have is Leanna and oh god, flight attendant
Ricard.
Ricard, right? But I think Ricard eventually flips on her. I thought that forever.
Because he's going to get super upset with her non-strategic playing.
Right.
Like last night. So he's the one on his side that comes up with and tells Shan, like, no, we are not voting out Heather. That's stupid. Why right? So he's the one who masterminds this plan to get out of Nasir. And she's like, nope, Heather needs to go. She just whatever, right? Because
this is just like Jamie Jo is here. She's just disagreeing with me on everything, and she's not even with us.
I think I think she's not wrong. I think that people are suspicious of them both, but it's like that squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? Shan is, I think, more vocal, so she might always be more in the forefront for people. If those guys keep winning,
I just think at the end of the day, Ricard's more likable. And I think that matters when you get down to the final 6 or 7.
Yeah. So we have this situation where he asks Shan for her extra vote. And she's like, I'll put it here. And
well, she clearly played it, right?
She did play it, which seemed silly, because what did she do? Did she put one on each?
I don't know. I was going to ask you what you thought about that, because it shouldn't have come to a tie.
It shouldn't have. Well, she used her extra thing, so that's how we got it. That's how we got 3 and 3. But then it was like, maybe Jamie knows, did her and Ricard and her extra vote all go to Nasir? No, because Heather had to vote for Nasir.
Right.
Had to, right? Because they went to that revote.
Right. So she must have split her votes, but to what end?
I don't get it. They wouldn't have had to revote if she had just played. Why did she care who went home?
Well, why did she care enough to waste the advantage?
You know what? Maybe it's because Heather's from Danny and Deshaun's original tribe, and that made her nervous. Maybe that's it. Maybe she saw that, like, why do they want to keep her? I mean, but
she certainly wanted Heather to go home.
Sure, yeah, and that's why Ricard was like, she is not winning. No competition. Like, we don't need to get rid of her. He wasn't wrong.
No.
But I don't know. I would have liked to see Nasir stay, just because he seems to have given more story movement than Heather.
And like I started to say, and then I got sidetracked. Somehow my mind does that. But here he was, this great personality, and all of a sudden he was just mean to Heather. You're just going home, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Because he thought she voted for him.
Yeah, I guess.
That's why he was like, he felt so betrayed, because they were on original tribe together, and he believed that vote came from her. And I don't understand why he thought so much it was her.
Well, because she told people to vote for him, and he heard it.
Yes, correct, but she didn't. And so
how would you believe that? I mean,
right?
But see, then again, that was a masterful vote by Xander, right? Because he saw the opportunity.
And then Xander's just kind of like hanging out over there listening to her.
But the problem is Xander's targeting all the wrong people. He's targeting the people he should be
working with. Yep.
And he doesn't.
It must not be obvious to them.
Well,
it's obvious because we see
I can
more.
accept that up until they walked up on the beach and said the 4 of us should talk.
Right.
At that point, if you don't see it,
unless some excuse was given that they didn't show. But it seems so obvious, and it seemed so obvious that would be something you would go and tell other people. So that they weren't going and telling Nasir and Evie, and you know what I mean, and going like, did you guys see that? Maybe you don't go and tell Heather because, whatever, but
because Heather tells everyone.
But that was weird, right? I don't know.
Like I said, there's been some great gameplay. I mean, Xander is at times brilliant and at times just awful.
That's why I have to think, because he's done so many things that are like, oh, that was really well done. It makes me think that there was something else we didn't see that didn't make it so cut and dry. Because, yeah.
So now we got Mike Bloom's Twitter.
But so this Shan Richard plan may be one of my favorite low-key moves in Survivor season if Nasir plays his idol and Eric and Heather realize they have the power. Realize Ricard and Shan's votes get nullified and one of them can go home. One of the most unique ways to use an extra vote. Yeah, that would have been interesting. But yeah, it was not very interesting. It seemed unnecessary. It seemed like if the two people with the extra vote have 3 votes amongst them, why wouldn't they just need one more person to vote with them, and maybe you don't even have to use your extra vote then.
Right.
I don't know. It seemed weird. Unless maybe was this our deadline to use the extra vote?
I don't think so.
But I did like what Ricard had to say. He said, this is the most high maintenance alliance ever. And because he was just like, listen to me. What are you talking about? Nope, I really think we need to send Heather home. And he was like, but when they got to tribal, yeah, Heather played they had the thing where Heather, okay, you go and you play really, really sad. Like you just accepted you're going home. There's no way around it. And I think that's why Nasir obviously went home with an idol in his pocket, because yeah. And if he had played it, she would have gone and he'd be there. So yeah, he got played. He got played. The old white lady cried and he was like, oh, I feel bad for her. But it didn't look like, when she kept looking down at Tribal, it didn't look like she was trying to like cover up that she was like about ready to smile or laugh or something.
Bit, yeah.
I'd
like to play poker with her for big money.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it was 3-1 on Nasir when they do their revote.
Right.
And I thought that was weird too, because like that means that Erica voted for Nasir also.
Yeah.
But did she vote for Nasir the first round, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think
Probably.
so.
Well, maybe, because they said that her and Heather were friends.
Oh, that would make sense.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so when we go to the other group for their tribal, and right away, and what was true for both, but they bring it up that with one person having the immunity idol and only 4 people there, they were all sitting there with a 25% chance to go home. And I thought, ooh, that's pretty even around, and Danny says that Nasir sitting over in jury really made it real for him. Because they walk in immediately, there's Nasir, like 30 seconds ago, he was sitting here. He just got voted out. Now he's sitting there.
Right.
And so fast. They looked a little shocked and surprised.
Yeah, no doubt.
So does that make them then immediately, because Nasir was their original tribe, and even though he's not in their core alliance, they seem to obviously be still working their original tribe. So does that make them have to reevaluate anything, or do you think they still went with what they were planning to do?
No, I mean, they must have done what they were planning to do.
Okay.
Like I said, I think
so
Xander misplayed it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless for some reason he wanted Amy to go home, but then why save her last week?
Right. No,
so it wasn't obviously in his interest for her to go home.
Somebody told him, he felt pretty confident that she wasn't going. Those boys must have really told him. They must have gave him like the super secret handshake that he was like, oh.
That's even a scary move, the way he's winning challenges.
For them to go again to make him
to lie to him like that, because he's not going to trust him this early in the game to pull a lie like that.
And I think the person that made him, or the person he trusted, I think, was Deshaun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because he clearly didn't trust Danny. He was like, yeah, Danny says he wants to work with me, and then
The first couple of episodes, Danny seemed to be the one that kind of pulled the strings.
right.
But ever since then, it's Deshaun all the way. You don't even hardly see Danny as much of other than a sidekick at this point. Deshaun gets all the screen time as far as like
Yeah, but
dialogue,
no, it's true. From a
right?
debit standpoint, you're absolutely right.
So yeah, so Deshaun I think worked him and made him believe, which yeah, we'll see what happens. Because I think Xander has a lot of wins in him if he can. Well, they just had Stu,
Yeah.
the best stew ever in the world of stews.
And then he's labeling out the stew into those weird shell things, and he's giving somebody. He pulls out a hunk of meat this big. Like, how do you eat that?
Listen, in other parts of the world, stew's not the way we think stew's supposed to be.
It's
You're
very
like,
odd.
wow, is that like a roast? What's going on there? A chunk of roast. Yeah, so really interesting how people. I feel like what we're seeing, the edit we're getting, is it should be very obvious to a lot of people where alliances stand. But things showed last night the way it worked out seems not to be the case. People
But just
aren't really
based on the voting patterns,
right.
more in this show than any other, you should be able to discern where the alliances lie.
Right. When push comes to shove, who do they
How
vote
are they
out?
voting? Right.
Because if so and so goes home that this person has been acting like they're best friends with, but they still voted for him to go home, they playing the game. Right.
Well, then the fact that he has to know who voted against Evie last week or who was going to, right?
Well, yeah, considering he was the only secret vote,
right?
The Sear vote, he knew who that was.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I want Xander at this point right now. I want Xander to win the whole thing.
I always think the best Survivor players. I can remember Boston Rob doing that when he'd be sitting there and he'd be figuring out how every single person voted, and I think that tells you a lot more than what they're saying to you.
Absolutely. And so yeah, I kind of, because of some of his moves, I really want Xander to go far, and I hope that this doesn't blow up his chances. I hope he can continue to win. So let's see. We'll see.
Well, I mean, they have the numbers now, right? Because they're 5-4.
Well, okay, so 5-4 now. So is this the moment when Deshaun gets really sick of Shan? Well, actually, in the previews for next week, how does everybody know what everybody?
There's the answer.
How exactly? Because of you, Jeff. How does everybody know what everybody else has?
Because we had to announce that we had to activate the idols.
And some people can't shut up and tell too many people. And then it comes out. It looks like in the previews for next week. Did you watch them?
I did.
Okay. It looked like there's a shot of Shan crying because they want to send Ricard home. Her alliance was to send Ricard home. And that makes sense because if you're sitting at 5-4, you want to cut the person. Deshaun's going to want to weaken Shan so she can't turn on him.
Right, because she has Liana, so yeah.
Right. So that makes sense that Deshaun and Danny would be like, let's go. I hope that Ricard stays. Ricard needs to dump them and
see the move now is for Danny and Deshaun to align with Ricard and Xander.
Yes.
Ooh, and then it's over.
Wow. Then it's over. One of them's winning for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, is Shan going to suddenly go on a winning streak?
I mean, they can win one,
Right, but they're not going to win week in and week out.
No, I agree. So yeah, if that's what happens, if they target Ricard, I hope Ricard finds some secret hidden immunity idol or break the black sand glass or something.
Doesn't he still have Shan's advantage? The one he refused to give back?
The one vote? She used it.
No. He had something else.
She has another advantage, or he does?
She had him hold it, and she asked for it back, and he said no way, and he never gave it back to her. And we're calling play.
What was that? I thought that was the extra vote, but
If only somebody in the chat would tell us.
Yeah, Jamie.
You know, it's like our brain is off this week.
Well, I mean, this week. What do you mean?
No, I'm saying she's, the knowledge of all things. But so he's holding some advantage. I just can't remember what it was.
Okay, she says, according to Jamie, sorry, she says he gave it back to her, which probably was the only way they were going to amend.
Was that the extra vote?
That's what I think that's what she had, because it was Xander that had 2 things, right? And then
he used one.
And then he won. He still had his idol, one as immunity. Yeah.
But see, if you're Xander, who do you think you're aligned with right now?
If you're Xander,
who do you think who's your people? I mean, who does he think is his people?
Well, his original tribe people were Evie and Leanna, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, okay. Maybe.
So does he think that, well, Evie's gone now because he let her go. He should have seen that. But I guarantee you there was a comment made, and I remember thinking afterwards, but I didn't write it down, but I remember thinking afterwards, I wonder if that comment weirded him out. He thought he really needed to have his immunity for next week, his idol still, just in case he didn't win immunity.
Well, I mean, that's the other calculation. If you don't play it, you go, well, at least I'm going one more week because I know I can't go home.
He did make the comment that he knew that tribal was crucial to the future of his game, right? And so,
but then he didn't act like it,
right? Well, maybe he did. Maybe that was the thing he kept going back on. Like, I can make this move, but maybe he didn't realize how good it would have been from his game because he's only seeing it from one angle.
Jamie Jo's saying in the chat she thinks he knows he's basically on his own after the last tribal.
You mean last tribal last night or last week?
Last
night.
This, yeah.
Oh, if he doesn't know he's on his own now, he's got to know.
But why would you do that? There was no reason to be on your own.
There wasn't.
If for no other reason, then they were going to send Abby home before him. Why not keep her around?
Correct.
And weaken them at the same time.
Correct, because he could have taken out Leanna, and then next week he would have still been able to get immunity if he won the challenge. And you're probably right. If Eddie hadn't won immunity next week, she probably would have gone home next week.
So, and Nasser, in what is always my favorite Survivor move, goes home with an idol in his pocket.
The worst.
So, are they going to put that idol back into play, or is that idol gone?
Well, that's what I was wondering when I said earlier that I hope that Ricard finds an idol.
But, I mean, 3 idols is an awful lot to have out there when you have 9 players left.
Wait, Xander has one?
And Shan has one.
Shan has an idol? I thought she just only had...
No, she has an idol too. She has an idol and an extra vote. Neither of which I would like to point out that she earned.
Oh, right. Okay, so now her extra vote's gone. She just has her idol. You're right. But I don't know.
I thought it was funny when Liana tried to get Xander to let her hold his advantage.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, as if.
Because she was trying to make it, she was trying to play him like he had to earn her trust. Like, I don't know if I should trust you, Xander. Like, no, you have your people. We know you have your people. It's not, I don't have to prove myself to you. I'm by myself. You have to prove yourself to me. Oh my gosh, that was so silly. She obviously didn't realize how ridiculous that looked. Okay, there we go. Jamie has to set it straight. Thank you, Jamie. She says Shant had the idol and the advantage from JP and Jeannie. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I forgot that there was the three because of the
right. So are they really going to put that back in so that a full third of the people? Because now you're talking about 3 people in with an idol and potentially a 4th one having immunity. You can only send 1 of 5 people home.
I'm trying to think when people have gone home with it before without actually playing, when they've gone home with it versus playing it. It seems like when they play it, they put it back in play. But maybe they wouldn't if it went home. Anyway, I can't remember. But I see what you're saying. 3 when you're just at 9, it seems like one of them needs to go away. But
Yeah,
then
because the thing is, when those got activated, there were like 14 or 15 people left in the game. They just haven't been played,
right, correct.
and so
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe Ricard can talk some Shannon into letting him, hold hers.
so what's your end game prediction now? Is it changed? Is it?
I really am liking Xander's story that he's kind of been on the bottom of his tribe this whole time. With that, the only way he's winning is by making good moves or by winning things. So I always like that. That's like maybe Ozzy wasn't on the bottom. Those are the players that I root for. I really always, but they never win.
No,
So,
I still like Danny. I think Danny is, I think it's a hero year, and he's played a clean game.
But I don't know if he goes to the end. Do him and Nasir or do him and Deshaun stab each other in the back? Because if they go to the end, I feel like Deshaun's going to have a better vote.
Enough people don't like Deshaun. He's had conflict with people. Who has Danny had conflict with?
He's had conflict, but I think he can take more. Are they going to be bitter? Because I think he'll be able to make more of a case that he was making more decisions. But I don't know.
I find that the final vote in Survivor often has to do with who you stabbed and
in the back
you were aligned with.
You didn't have to lie to me. Yes, I did.
We're Big Brother. I think people do tend to vote for the best gameplay. I don't know that gameplay is as respected in Survivor.
Yeah, because you know what, they have a lot. Regardless, in Big Brother they have a lot more time to hang out together and really get to know each other, and make those friendships. Where then, nothing's personal. This is we're going to do by the game, and
they're also not sunburned and dehydrated and hungry.
Absolutely. Evie was my pick. I liked her from the get-go, and I was really mad to see her go. I'm proud of her. I think she did a great thing, and she said to all the queer kids out there to just be yourself, be proud of yourself.
Yeah,
that was awesome. But now I don't know, honestly. Although I would say that if Erica could somehow make a comeback, I'd be like, that's what you get, bullies.
Yeah.
Right?
But she can't win.
She's not going to. But that would almost be like, I'd root for her. Clearly, I like the underdogs. I'd probably root for the Cubs too, right?
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Well, you can't root for your hometown team, as you have none.
We don't. We don't.
Where's the closest baseball? Kansas City?
We have, Royals. So you have a lot of Twins fans, a lot of Cubs fans, a lot of.
You have any of them who hate that shitty St. Louis team? I can't even remember their name. They suck so bad.
You know what? It's really weird. I know people who even like them. It's weird. When you live in a town that people can just kind of go wherever. Usually it's like, oh, my grandma and grandpa live in this area, or my aunt's over here, or whatever.
What I don't understand is, how does somebody born and raised in Minnesota who lives in Missouri end up a St. Louis Cardinals fan? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I like this because she can't defend herself right now. So.
Well, Cardinals are just dead relatives saying hello.
Oh, she doesn't like the Royals fans. No.
Oh, well, I am not a sports fan at all, so I would not.
Of any kind?
Really not of any. Soccer, I do like World Cup soccer.
You mean football?
Yes, absolutely. yes. But usually if I pick a team, it's usually because they have pretty uniforms. And
because football is life.
You're not watching Ted Lasso,
so the Ted Lasso coach.
No, I watched it. Yes. Yeah, I love that show. But when it comes
wasn't it sad with Danny and the dog?
The which one?
Danny and the dog, the first episode of season 2. Where Danny goes for the goal and the dog jumps in front of the ball.
Oh, yeah, that was tragic.
That was sad.
Yeah, but it was comical though. I haven't watched football in so long that Eric had it on the other day. And do you know that there's uniforms now where they have shorts? When did that happen? When did football players start getting to wear shorts? They're not even covering their knees anymore.
I didn't know that.
I've seen some of the, well, it was college, but they look like long bike shorts. And I was like, that's weird. Anyway, cool. Something you didn't know either. I figured it was probably like Christy. That was like 10 years ago. Yeah. So.
We should probably talk about. As a matter of fact, could we please talk about the scoring in Fantasy Survivor for this week and this week only?
Okay, so David and you and I had a good week actually.
First and second in points.
Yeah, even though my MVP went home, I still got 120 points from her just last night because she's still. I don't know. Would you get one more round when they're still there? I don't know. Even though she went home, I thought that was weird, but whatever. I'm not going to complain. Let's see. Let me log in here. My sister actually forgot to do her picks, so we all had a chance to kind of catch up a little bit. She's still in the lead overall, but
and I'm just proud for 1 week to have beaten both Mandy and Maggie. And
yeah.
And JP with his whopping 90. So in your face, JP.
Okay, so here's the thing. JP, it wasn't that he forgot to turn in his picks. His picks were just so cruddy.
Well, I don't know. Can I say that? His picks were shit. JP, your picks were shit.
So yeah.
Sorry if there are young
this week it was you and me in the top, and then JP was all the way at the bottom, except for the people who forgot. We won't shame them or anything.
I've done it twice, so I got nothing to say.
Right. It always happens. Things happen. This is real world.
Well, I don't ever miss my fantasy football, so.
Oh, well, that's good. Again, set up a reminder on your phone. And
so how many accounts does Jamie Jo have?
3.
I was thinking I was ahead of her, but I'm not, because once you add them all together.
If you hadn't had such a stellar week this week, I think you would have, but no.
Yeah, she's at 1,100 and I'm at 1,010. So the only people I'm beating are the people who stopped playing.
Oh, well, that's all right. You know what? If Danny wins the whole thing, boom, look at you. Because I have to pick a new MVP.
And that he was my MVP before I forgot, too. I would have had big points this week.
Yes, you would have. So it's Kelly in first place, followed by Maggie, Mandy, me, JP, Ro, Brandy, David, Kelly, Maddie, and Carol. So don't forget, get them in. I set myself an alarm for Sunday night to make my picks in case I forget.
The website is very slow to update. You got to admit.
It can be wonky.
I mean, after the show, it sometimes doesn't update till the next afternoon.
I think that's because they're giving time for, maybe it airs different times around the world. I don't know. I wonder if it's something like that. Because I know we would have Pacific time. Does Hawaii watch the same time as California, for instance? Or do they have their own time for primetime TV?
I have no idea.
That's the only thing I could think of it, that maybe it's airing at different places and they want to make sure no one's spoiled.
I wonder when Jamie's going to figure out that I'm going in and changing the password on each of her accounts every week. So she has to set up a new one.
Oh, please don't do that to her. That's not nice.
I'm not, but I would love for her to think so.
Oh, poor Jamie.
First of all, I'm not that smart to figure out how to do that. So
I was going to say, I don't really have that much extra time to try and figure that out. If I can't do it in 5 minutes, it's not happening.
But I'm totally capable. If I knew how to do it, I would do something like that.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you don't have any scruples that would keep you from doing it.
Oh, no. I absolutely, if I could hack into JP's account and make his picks every week for him, I would. Except I don't know that I could do any worse than he did himself this week. So.
Yeah, he didn't do very well. Sorry, JP. See, it's so fun to mess with JP. So we all do. Yeah. Ricard had a funny tweet, and I don't think I can put it up here, but It was a funny tweet of that somebody DM'd him. It was like one of those school participation, congratulations. And it says, presented to Survivor 41 cast for not whispering at Tribal, because they don't even try to hide what they're.
No, it's a very odd season that way. There's no real, and that's what I don't understand how Xander couldn't understand, because no one's trying to hide their alliances.
Like how he couldn't have seen it coming.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he thinks everybody's in an alliance but him. I don't know.
I mean, it would be funny to find out there's some secret alliance we don't know of that they haven't given an edit to.
Yes. Throw us a bone. If there are, let us know.
I mean, wouldn't that be great if, like, at like the third episode from the end, they go and they flash back to all this stuff that there were clues all along the way that we missed.
What? They left the little puzzles that would have like spelled out. I don't know. I don't even know who he can align with now. I don't know. I want a Xander super alliance.
Well, who was going to want, after he let Evie go home, who's going to want to align with him?
But he's a good meat shield.
Yeah.
He's a good meat shield, isn't he?
Yeah, but if you're Erica and you think you're in with Deshaun and Danny, why wouldn't you work that angle? That's where the numbers are.
True, but again, I don't think she is in with them. That's the thing. It's like, man.
Well, clearly she's not. She should have known when they threw her out.
Right. We said after that episode, what did we say? We said if she doesn't flip on them and go help the other people, she is not smart.
And then she turned back time and kind of screwed them over. So
right, so they should be mad at her, and she should be even more fearful that they'd turn on her, right?
Well, anyhow, it's 2 good episodes in a row, which is,
Yeah. I mean, I did not know what was going to happen. It wasn't telegraphed that you knew exactly who was going home.
No, and I like the twist. I mean, look, if you're going to do a double throw out, or it's not double eviction on this show.
Double
elimination.
Double tribal.
Okay, so if you're going to do the double tribal, this was a neat way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It was neat because it really makes them on their toes, right? Because they think, oh, we made the merge. We're good. We're one tribe.
Do you know what would have been cool? And I was thinking if they did the same challenge without the 5 and 5, and they would have said, and the person who is the last remaining up will get immunity, but the person who's second to last goes home. So now you got to make a calculation on whether you want to go for immunity or not.
So so then you're standing there and you like you're down to the last 4 and you're like, shoot,
people are fighting to jump off. Yeah.
Right. Everyone would be jumping off. It would be like a photo finish. They'd have to like do slow motion to see who was last one on. Cause I think they would all start. Cause if you didn't think you could win, don't even risk it.
Right. But if you had to win.
Jeff, can we get some food? I'll not play for food, we didn't really hear anybody talk about how hungry they were. Did we?
No, because they had stew.
5 of them.
And then they bought rice. Remember, they got
right,
rice.
But the other 5. That's why I was going to say the rice has really helped them because last week they were very hangry.
Yep.
And this week, rice is sustaining them a little better, I guess. So.
And Nasser was still angry.
Yeah, because someone wrote his name down.
I so wish.
Could neither confirm nor deny.
David does not have a medical card in Florida, sadly.
Oh, well. And then she's right. It would be terrific, but I'm not sure what she said would be terrific.
I think the second to last person who has to go home.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna take credit for it anyway.
It would really. There you go. Thanks, Jamie. Always got vote of confidence.
Maybe she was reacting to me talking about the Cubs going to the World Series and said that'd be terrific.
It can be for anything. That'd be terrific. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I gotta pick a new MVP, so I don't know who it's gonna be. My gut wants me to pick Xander just because, but that would be stupid because he is not winning.
If you'd have picked him 2 weeks ago, it would have been a great pick because he'd have been paying dividends.
Well, for 2 weeks, but they're gonna people like Xander, their luck can't hold out the whole game. At some point, people start getting so paranoid that no matter what
There was
happens,
the one guy.
the
What was
first
his
time
name?
you can vote
Tom.
them out, you
Tom, the
send them out.
fireman, who like won out.
That won out.
Yeah, he like won like the last 4 challenges or whatever.
I mean, it has been done, but typically it doesn't work very good. When someone starts winning like that, especially since they can't get rid of him because he has the immunity idol,
Right.
the first chance they get, he's gonna have to use that when he doesn't have immunity, and then the next chance after that he doesn't win immunity because he'll have no more idol, they're gonna take a shot at him, because I would think, but we'll see. They haven't tried to vote him out and flush the idol yet, so.
Well,
Maybe
unless Shanna's making the decision, then she's going to want to send Heather home, as though Heather could ever win.
Right. Heather, man. I don't know if I like her or not.
Heather?
I can't tell.
I don't like her or dislike her.
We haven't seen much of her, but we saw quite a bit more of her last night, and I don't know.
Jamie Joe says if Xander finds another idol and keeps it secret, he's going to the final 3.
Yes, because why would you tell anyone that you had one now?
Well, and if the queen had enough, she'd be king. But I mean, that's I can't imagine 2 idols.
I don't know. Maybe I can make another fake one.
No, I mean, and what he should probably do is try. Well, Shan hasn't given up her idol.
No, I really want to see Ricard talk her into using it for him.
I think she will.
But if she does, if those guys tell her that they want to take out Ricard, which is what it looked like the conversation they were having.
Then she has to align with, she and Liana have to go align with Xander.
Well, if she doesn't want to lose Ricard, if her choice is between Ricard and Deshawn and Danny, and she doesn't want to lose Ricard and chooses him over the other 2 guys, then she has to really worry, right?
Yep.
Because yes, then she's going to need Xander, then she's going to need Erica, then she's going to need Heather.
And that's where Xander will come in. When 2 people in that alliance feel like they're on the outs, he's obviously available. And he's going to be like, he's going to glom on to whoever wants to align with him.
Have we seen Ricard and Xander talk very much?
Not a bit. And that's why I think there might be a secret alliance.
Is that our dream alliance?
I mean, wouldn't that be great if they've been running a secret alliance since like week 1?
Amazing. But I think if those 2 started talking, they might realize that they kind of click and they are real good. They would be able to plan real well together, I think. Xander doesn't seem to be an emotional player.
They'd be friends in real life.
Well, Xander doesn't seem to be an emotional player either, and Ricard is also very level-headed.
Right. And Shan is running 100% of the emotion. She needs to go because she gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't disagree with her, but I do not stand him. I think Jamie is agreeing that she also does not like Heather.
Yes.
Is that what she's saying? Yeah, she gives everybody the creeps. So you know what? Maybe I'll make my new MVP Ricard. Is that who Jamie has? No, she has Shan.
No.
And you have, who do you have?
Danny again.
I might pick Ricard just because. JP's in the house. Oh, look at this. Got 2 minutes left, and JP's coming in. What are we talking about this show called Survivor.
Talking about the 90 points that you scored this week. Good job, buddy.
He was like,
he likes Derek X.
Money! And then like bricked it.
How was Ghostbusters?
Is that where he was at? Ghostbusters? Yeah. Oh, this is good.
I like Derek X. I do too.
Oh, and see, Jamie, I think that Jamie just clinched it. That's who I'm going to vote for.
That's what I said. Ricard is more likable.
Yeah, this is going to be more likable than Xander?
No, than Shan, for sure.
Oh, yes, I think so too. Well,
I don't think Shan's likable at all.
But I think Ricard could be very biting if he wanted to be. You know what I mean? He could be abrasive, I bet you, if he tried. Well, you know, if he's whoa. Spoil the ending of
from the Ghostbusters movie that just came out today.
Oh, did it? I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was today. I'm so out of it, guys. I don't even know what month it is half the time. Between show choir and one act play that they're getting ready to go to districts with, my house has been a little crazy. So, but it's all right. Okay, well, let's see. Next week is Survivor on the regular night, Wednesday.
I don't know. We're not going to be able to go Thursday because
I was just going to say we cannot record on Thursday because that'll be our turkey coma. We got Melissa McCarthy was so good. I think that's the wrong Ghostbusters movie, JP.
Did she play the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
Oh,
that was just cruel.
Oh, that wasn't
right. Okay, I'm gonna recant that biting statement because I do kind of like Melissa McCarthy.
I like her too. So yeah, next week is Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all of our friends and family here.
Well, we'll have to regroup and pick a time.
And we'll have to figure it out. So stay tuned. If you subscribe down below, there'll be no problem because you'll get a notification when we set the time. But it definitely will not be Thursday. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a very jolly, very special episode. Friends and family and merriment and all of that. So don't forget to get your picks in, David.
I will. I'm going to do it right after
JP,
the show.
Erase that from your memory. Don't listen to that.
JP, go ahead and forget.
Yeah. And you can follow us on our Twitters right here. And I guess that is all. Anything else you got to say?
Nope. I think we're ready to wrap it up for this week.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Happy Thanksgiving and goodbye.